Cool.
All right.
Hey guys, thanks for jumping in. My name is Yohei, and I'm the artist behind PixelBeasts. So this is our monthly community demo day. For new friends, PixelBeasts is a community of VCs and community for VCs and founders to explore what it means to play and build in Web3 together. Today we have two playable games. There's Snakes and Ladders, the Discord-based board game, and then you can start playing the alpha in Pixels, the farming game. When they launch their actual farming feature, we will set up a community farm, which will make that a lot more fun to play in, as we'll have a specific pixel-based farm. On the kind of community side, to help build a relationship between the founders and VCs and builders in the community, we do a weekly event, which you see the announcements in Discord. We do a monthly community demo day, which is this one, and an annual conference, which we just announced this week called GM Summit. And I'll talk about that toward the end of the demo day. But yeah, so yeah, for this demo day, the format is we usually have 5 presenters. There's some scheduling misses, so there's going to be 4 of us today, 4 presenters today. We'll have them share what they're working on for about 5 minutes, and then we'll have about 5 minutes afterwards for the community, myself, and anybody else who wants to just kind of jump in and provide feedback. And let me just make a quick announcement in Discord. And we'll get going. Before I start, if anybody has any questions or something, happy to take any questions or thoughts. Omni, thanks for making an effort to record. If it works, we'll share the recording. Regardless, I'll write up a blog post and I will share it on Medium so that everybody can kind of check out what all the people are working on. And I'll do a tweet thread and whatnot as well to help spread the word. Last demo day, we had 5 presenters. One of them was Pixels, the game I mentioned earlier. They had a pretty big mint right after that. So hopefully we'll see some exciting projects today that we'll see kind of blow up right afterwards. That's the hope.
All right.
All right. I know we're a little bit early, but maybe we'll get started. Mika, who was going to do the resource report, was the one I had a misscheduling with. Actually, it was initially Dr. Bessie, but he got called in. I think he's on call, and he was called in, so he was not able to present. So I kind of last minute tried to bring somebody in. I guess being a doctor is a pretty busy job. So I think we'll kick off with Abs talking about UR feed. If you're ready, feel free to screen share and share with us what you're working on.
Yep, let me just get my screen up. Okay.
And for those of you who have not been to a demo day, at least on browser, you have to specifically click watch stream for the screen he's sharing to show up. So go ahead and click watch screen if you haven't yet, and you'll see the slides he's sharing with us as he talks. Abs, take it away.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we can hear you, and I can see your deck as well.
Okay, perfect. Hey, everybody. Nice to speak to everybody. I think I'm excited to be speaking at this demo day. I think really excited because PixelBeasts was my first NFT. So it's been a nice part of the journey. So excited that this is the first forum that we're sharing this. So look, for your feed, our mission is to we want to create a platform that helps communities flourish online and in real life, and that helps bring people together. In the end, trying to make the world a better place, right? So we're all trying to make the world a better place, make our members' lives better, and the communities they live in. So, our specific goals in that text, we're building a Web3 messaging platform. We want to onboard the Snapchat and TikTok generation into Web3. We think text has served us well for communication for certain points, but there's generations of people who are really used to consuming and interacting through video. And we think the other big thing that we're trying to solve is deeper connection, but also through video, but also the aspect of trust. We think trust online is one of the biggest things that he's addressing, and whether that's scamming or getting rugged, or that's trust in the platforms which allow you to have a say, or that is trust in kind of people and seeing people beyond just the text. So these are our goals, and how we're going about it. So I talked about some of these problems. Really, the Web3 community messaging platform that we're building is going to be run by the people that use it. It's going to be a talk to earn platform. So the URF token that we're minting will give people ownership and governance of the platform over time. And we're going to have your Web3 functionalities like token gating, NFT gating, verified profiles, and then obviously going into ownership and so on. So really, I think I can come back to the business model. I think when I think about Web3 social, this is how I see the universe currently. So you've got Web2 on the left-hand side. You've got text platforms, voice platforms, video platforms going from the bottom up on the left. And for the new platforms, really what I see is they kind of fit into these three buckets of platforms that are looking at compatibility. So are you doing some kind of gating and sort of functioning that works with NFTs and tokens, or perhaps galleries and so on? Then there's a bucket of, okay, are you sharing ownership? So are you bringing the community on board? And then the final part is, are you fully on chain? And the progression that we want to work through is kind of with those Web3 features up front, then starting to share ownership through a token distribution model, and before we go to a fully on-chain way of operating. So the way that too far ahead. So the way that we would give tokens to users is for talk to earn. And so when users come on the platform, they'll be able to get coins for inviting users. They'll be able to get coins for talking daily. They'll get coins for spending money on the platform, and then community owners will receive coins for creating those communities where these activities happen. So everybody kind of everybody who's paying attention and creating value in the platform will be brought along with us. So that's broadly what we're building. If I have time, I'd love to share a video. Give we a little bit of time.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So yeah, so I'll jump to video in a second. But broadly, these are, it's a community platform. So there's lots of different ways which we think that users and creators will be able to monetize. And the platform would take a 10% rake of that. So whether that's in NFT sales or subscriptions, the platform would take a 10% share, and then that goes to the community treasury, which would then, over time, the decisions of that will be governed by the community. And our aim is these funds will be used to A, build a platform, but B, also support communities that are perhaps not super revenue focused, but are still great, important communities. So we would like to use this part to support those communities. But obviously this will be something that we would take community input for. All right, let me see if I can get this video up. Are you guys able to see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. So I've played this short video. I'm not sure it's gonna play the audio, but
the volume going on in this gap? There is none. Does he have it you're on?
There's loads of people watching me, not just me.
yeah, so really, I guess it's an invite from our side for any feedback. We'd like to hear from anybody who's kind of interested in looking at the platform, anyone who's building something similar that could work well together, anyone who'd like to use it. Yeah, just invite any feedback and collaboration. We're also raising investment, so that would also be awesome in terms of connections. That's all from me.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. For anybody who joined kind of while he was talking, the format is 5 minutes from the presenters, and we'll have 5 minutes for feedback, which I will kick off. But if anybody has any questions or comments, like just unmute yourself and jump on in here. Abs, I'll kick off. I saw that on one hand, it's kind of like a Web3 native TikTok of sorts because there's a video feed, right? But then I think I also saw some chatting as well. Is it both, or did I understand that?
So the construct at the moment are closed communities, kind of like how you have on Discord. So there is no central feed, kind of like TikTok, but that's something we may bring in later, depending on how people like using it. It's something we've kind of built already. But we think people when they're speaking in groups do like the sort of security and of closed groups. There is text at the moment, which is primarily on. Only on the live chat. We are bringing in some text because we realize videos kind of lean in. So whilst we remain video first, we know that there's, you don't always want to be on video. So we're bringing in things like some text participation, NFT filters, AR filters, avatars, letting communities build their own specific AR filters so that people can interact in different ways. So it's kind of somewhere between Discord meets Snapchat.
Cool. So it's both async and synchronous videos, or just mostly async?
Yeah. So at the moment, it's primarily async.
Cool.
There is some live functionality, and we're going to probably prop that up a little bit. But I think the real good use case for us, what we see is communities or groups of people talking to each other across multiple threads in multiple conversations where lots of different people can contribute. And it allows sort of, rather than having a stage, which is great for something like this concept of demo day, when there's a many-to-many collaborative workspace, it really allows everybody to have that medium.
That's cool. And it's by default like token gated communities?
Not by default. So
Okay.
Those who want them can have them. But normal communities can be set up just kind of like a WhatsApp group even. And then beyond that, we're going to bring in functionality where people can, let's say you just create a kind of a WhatsApp group and then you're allowed to mint NFTs for that WhatsApp group. So you can go from a really basic group to a Web3 enabled group. The other kind of, our big thing is we want to simplify how people can get onto into Web3. So we're going to let people come on and earn tokens, native tokens, which they can then claim when they feel compelled enough. So rather than demanding that people create wallets before they can get involved in Web3, we're removing that barrier, letting them take part, and then allowing them to claim what we have accumulated for them natively.
That's cool. Yeah, I think probably one of the challenges might be that a lot of people in Web3 are kind of shy away from sharing video. But on the other hand, I think with more kind of physical artists kind of coming into play, I can see that being an interesting like collaboration tool around physical art where you probably actually have to show it to them.
Exactly. I mean, we're all here. We're all super early. And we are a certain type of creature. The people who come after are going to be quite different from the crowd that's here. So catering to them, I think, is important and being inclusive of those crowds.
Cool. If anybody else has any thoughts or comments, feel free to chime in, or feel free to just reach out to Abs directly. Sorry, you were going to add something?
I was kind of curious, and maybe I'm, it's possible I'm just being thick here, but like, aside from the possible increasing value of the token itself, is there like another method of revenue generation involved here? Like, is there advertising going on or anything like that?
So there's no advertising per se. So that way, user data and so on is not traded. So that's kind of a thing that we're not doing. The ways of revenue generation would be kind of the Patreon model for any creators, NFT sales, access to events, so ticketed events using tokens and NFTs, things like Popes, e-commerce stores. The one that really excites me though is AR NFT filters. So kind of like the Snapchat filter, but converted to NFTs and the ability to trade those. I think of that as like a proxy to what Axies are in the Axie Infinity world. And especially when you think about, on our platform, you would get tokens for likes, right? So for every 1,000 likes, you get a token. I don't remember the exact number. So the vehicle to generate those likes can be tradable, and so there's kind of an economy that can come in. So there's lots of different ways of creating revenue, but token value would I guess would be another of them as well.
I think the
Gotcha.
idea of the AR filters and potentially maybe like buying them as NFTs from artists is actually really interesting, because if you think about it, like in that case, the NFT does help protect significantly the usage of it, right? It's not like, a JPEG at the end of the day you can right click save, right? But that's not but that's not why we value these NFTs. But with the AR filter, you can actually, like if it's through your app, it'd be very hard for a person to just copy paste it somewhere else, unless they actually own that NFT. So I think there's something interesting there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think video just opens up so many creative revenue features, and the one that we're talking about is absolutely one of the most exciting ones.
That's cool. Well, thanks, Abs. I know this goes by quickly. We're gonna jump to the next one, but again, Abs, if you want to chat, post like a link or anything to, I think the general chat's the easiest, just because it's public. Make it easy for people to find you and reach out if they want to chat.
Amazing. I will drop some links in there. I'll drop my white paper for anyone who's a little bit crazy.
Awesome. Let's
Thank you so much.
jump. Thank you. Let's jump to Nikita with Devnet. I think it's pretty cool that you're doing this on the side too. So it'd be interesting to just quickly touch on what your main thing, and then mention that it's a side project, because I do think that's a pretty exciting thing about Web3, that everyone's always working on something else on the side too at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. Let me just share my screen quickly.
Cool. And for anybody who joined during the last one and didn't hear me say, Nikita's now sharing his screen. You'll have to click watch stream to be able to see the screen that he's sharing. So go ahead and click that. Thanks. Nikita, take it away.
Yeah, so I can probably actually do a very quick pitch about what I do, on the main. I work, I am the CTO and co-founder of Treasured. My co-founder Vito is actually in the chat here. And we basically build, immersive galleries and, metaverse spaces that work on your browser, on mobile phones, or like hyper optimized to work basically everywhere while remaining photorealistic. So we've mostly worked with art galleries, showrooms, museums, and now we're branching into e-commerce as well. So yeah, if anybody's actually interested in, having your own NFT gallery, you can actually check out, my Twitter or Vito's as well. We're actually doing some giveaways of that. But let me jump into Devnet. So basically, a little while back, I started experimenting with, blockchain development. Basically experimenting with blockchain development. I started with Ethereum and BuildSpace, learned a ton there, but I'm a person who's coding all day, basically every day, and I love dev tools, right? Like there's so many tools that make my life easier and faster. I mean, Copilot, if nobody's tried that yet, basically writes like half my code for me, So when I moved into kind of the smart contract development world, I was like, oh damn, there's there's some rough edges here. While I was developing locally, everything was fine, but as soon as I moved into, starting to deploy things, like there were definitely speed bumps. So if anybody's worked on, on smart contracts, that once you go to a Rinkeby or Ropstein or any test network, things start to slow down. You have issues with, the transactions take quite a while. Like every time one of the projects I was doing was basically like an RPG, like a role-playing game, but that's entirely on chain. And so I'm like, damn, I have to wait like 13, 15 seconds every time I click a button here, So it wasn't the best testing experience. To even get it deployed, you need test ETH, and everybody's always looking for, faucets. Faucets sometimes work, sometimes don't. You can only get a little bit of ETH. It's enough to test a little bit, but then you're always asking for more. And, I just found myself constantly, begging people for test ETH, basically. And then once you're in, I guess, this staging, quote unquote, environment, you're saying, okay, wait, how do I debug this now? What happens if something goes wrong here? And that's where, Devnet comes in. So, developing locally is really fast. Everything runs great. Most people use hard hat locally. And that's very simple and kind of easy to use. Sorry, was there a question? Never mind. Anyway,
I think it was just
yeah.
yeah. If you're not muted, if you can mute, that'd be helpful. Cool. Keep going.
Anyway, so there's and then we gotta combine the best of both worlds. The speed of local development, but while also being able to connect your front end and have other people try it out like you would on a test net. So that's where Devnet comes in. You have very fast transactions. We have a built-in faucet and built-in logs and debugging, because to reveal the secret sauce in the background, it's basically hard hat with a bunch of utilities I built on top of it, being hosted in the cloud for you. So you'll have a Devnet dashboard. In there, you can do a couple of things. Actually, you know what? I'll jump through this and just go straight to the video demo, because that'll show you how it all actually works. So let me bring up the video. So over here, you've got your Devnet dashboard. You have a network. This is a sample network that's available to everybody. But for every person that comes on, you'll create your own network on top of. As basically a container inside of Devnet. You'll have your own, when you connect to a new network, you have the URL you need to bring in. So inside MetaMask, you can basically, this works with MetaMask or any other really wallet that lets you add a custom network. So in here you can see you basically just put in, your RPC URL, the chain ID, and whatever name you want. And so once we're here, I can take a look inside my account and be like, okay, well, I've got 0 ETH. I need some ETH to start doing testing, right? So all you gotta do is copy your account, paste it in here, hit send a couple times. Each time, right now this defaults to 1 ETH, but I'll be adding a piece to, send whatever amount you want. And here in once MetaMask refreshes, there we go, we got 4 ETH in the account already. So we can keep going. There's logs available for all of this. There is a slight bug in here right now where you'll see some warning messages being spammed out here. That's what happens when you try developing a day before demo day. But basically, if I create a couple of more faucet requests, you can actually see all of them show up. Here's all the transactions being sent. And this is great for debugging when transactions are being sent back and forth. And yeah, just makes it easy to see all your basically Solidity console logs, and everything else will show up in there. Then this is the project I was building. So this just to show the front end. This is connected to that network. So in here, I can connect my account. Let's jump over here. So I hit connect my account. It asks me to connect it to this account. And you can see things are happening very quickly. As soon as I click on Mint Warrior, this one I can just approve. Let's go ahead. I won't skip through this part just so you can see kind of my UI just took a second to update there. But then, for example, each attack here is actually happening on chain because all these values are being stored entirely on chain. And so you can see within a couple of, within a second, this interaction is practically instant. When I was trying to develop this on test this out on my testnet, I think it was Rinkby, during the time that I did this whole quote unquote fight, I guess, would have been just one transaction. So I can jump through here, and basically all those logs, whenever you're you can see here there's the player with character warrior about to attack, has 0 HP and 25 AD. Then you can see the transaction was reverted at the end because character must have HP to attack because it tried to attack once the character was out of health. So basically you can see all the debug logs are showing up in there, and makes it very easy to debug basically your live or staging well, maybe not live, but staging applications. And that's it. Basically should just make your life a lot faster, and also your whole team can connect to this. You can send them all test ETH easily, and just makes life easier there.
That's cool. Thank you. Not being a Solidity developer, I'm aware of the test nets that people. I mean, for anybody who's not familiar, there are built-in test nets that a lot of devs use to essentially test out their apps, so they're not interacting on the main chain. Not being a deep Solidity developer, I didn't realize that these issues existed, but that's pretty cool that you're able to quickly spin up your own test net essentially, instead of hanging out in a very busy one, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And can you get the logs like that from like when you're working on Rinkeby?
No, that's the thing. Like, no, your console logs just don't exist on Rinkeby. If you're going through something like Alchemy, you can get some stuff on like transaction execution, but not to this level. Like, basically, if you put a console log anywhere in your Solidity, it just gets ignored once it gets to Rinkeby. So yeah, basically debugging once you're out of your local environment kind of sucks right now, to be honest. And so that's one of the things I'm trying to improve.
What's a reason someone would use Rinkeby with Devnet as an option?
You probably want to at the end. Actually, that another second. There are a couple of things. So one is right now when you set up Devnet, it's basically an empty network. So Rinkeby would be good if you need to use something like Rinkeby is free to use, right? So if you have absolutely zero money, then Devnet will have to be paid, but it'd be fairly cheap. I'm comparing it to something like a Vercel, where people deploy their front ends. The other reason is on Rinkeby and on the mainnet, you have access to everybody else's smart contracts. Right now, when you make a DevNet, it's just basically an empty Ethereum network with some like utilities built in. But what I'm actually doing next is letting you create a DevNet that's basically a clone of the mainnet. So if you had a more complex contract that say needed to work with somebody else's contract, or even if you were making a front-end app to work with other smart contracts, right? You could actually have it interact with a clone of the mainnet, so as if you're working with a real environment, but without having to pay real ETH and wait on transaction times like you would on mainnet, right? So yeah, that's where this is going.
Cool. That's a pretty awesome side project.
Yeah, thanks. I'm hoping this grows into something more. Right now, my main goal is basically getting people's interest, getting some developers to try it out. Mostly right now, I'm using it. Like a couple of other people I know are starting to try it out. But basically, if there's any Solidity devs in here, I'd love to chat and hopefully make your life a little bit easier.
Cool. If any of you are Solidity devs in here, please chime in. If not, I know we have some in the community, and I know they'll follow up and read the demo day recap. So hopefully they'll reach out.
I'd love to give it a shot and get a couple of my team members to try it out too. This is Mark Zero over on the. Here. You can see me light up on the left.
Yeah. All right, I'll be reaching out to you. Awesome. That just made my day.
Awesome. There we go. Cool.
Anybody else any other questions?
Yeah, if anybody has any other questions, you can chime in now, or you can reach out to Nikita directly. If you want to post a link in the general chat, feel free to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll make sure to do that.
Cool. Well, thanks for us sharing. I think we're a little bit behind on schedule, so I think we'll keep moving unless somebody has a specific question. But I'll follow up and write up about this too. So hopefully more people can find it, and we'll get more people trying it.
Thanks. That's awesome.
Cool. I think next up, Sky will share Drift Space with us if you want to get your screen sharing going, and love to see what you're building.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I guess we can just start in with that. So, Drift Space is it's
Were you planning on sharing? It's not sharing if you were trying to.
No, I was, and we might as well like get that going so that you can sort of see an example because there is like a fair amount of content involved, just as far as demonstration is concerned. So yeah, is that working for everybody?
Yep.
Awesome. So DriftSpace is sort of like VR content creation and publication tool. And we're a little bit different from some of the other VR tools or content creators or like social platforms that exist right now because we're based around 360 media. So generally 360 images and 360 video. Which is kind of like in the VR space. I think that it's become somewhat passé for people to be interested in 360 video, but it's like a very accessible, immersive medium. So if you're trying to create something that somebody can exist inside of, then if you just give somebody a 360 camera or even a smartphone with the ability to capture 360 images, then they can pretty easily capture that kind of media and like create their own quote-unquote worlds. And that's sort of what we're aiming to allow people to do. And also
ask about getting off
to let people share those experiences and like sort of create a community of people who are interested in those experiences in the same way that people are interested in, photos on Instagram or videos on YouTube and that sort of thing. So this is sort of like the key part of that. There's some various different parts to the product as a whole, but sort of the key part is the VR headset application, which is kind of what I'm showing now, which is currently only on the Meta Quest, but we'd certainly like to make it cross-platform. And so we just sort of have this interface that lets you, create experiences based around 360 video and images, and then explore those. Interact with those. So like this is a underwater experience that somebody captured in Hawaii, and as you can see, you can sort of like go in here and move about and see different pretty cool stuff that somebody's managed to take with like a 360 camera. So this is like a shark in Hawaii from an underwater diver. And that's sort of like the primary function. One of the neatest parts about it, and I'm not sure if we're actually getting this going, is, yeah, it should be in there. Okay. There's also a social experience to it. So along with being able to create these things and experience them and share them with people and experience them together, and ideally we'd like to sort of like add in a bunch of social media dynamics to this so that like you can do all the kind of regular stuff that you do on other social media platforms, like yeah, okay, there we go, like liking things and subscribing to people's channels, content creation, platform style stuff. You can also, yeah, so here's my friend Barry Nervous, who's joined me for this demo. So he's with me together in this experience, and as we move around these different experiences that different people have created that we call drifts, he joins me in those. So if we go, for example, to Hawaii, then he and I are in here together, and we can chat about, what we like about the experience, what we don't, it's just sort of like share that entire drift, as we call it, socially. So then the other kind of neat thing is that we can also create these things socially. So this is sort of like the creation platform, and because it's all like contained within a native VR app, it's a little bit different than a lot of the current applications that are used for this sort of thing that are desktop applications for the most part. For this, we're like totally immersed in the space, and when we try to change something or decide that we want to change the dynamics of the space itself, we do it through an entirely like virtual set of tools. So we kind of view this as an important differentiating factor that points towards this kind of like more metaverse-y spatial future in which like we're not only spending time in these virtual spaces, but we're also like have a set of tools that are entirely native to these virtual spaces, and that's like how we accomplish whatever it is that we're accomplishing. So at the moment, some of those capabilities are pretty limited, to be entirely honest, right? Like, I can bring up like my toolbar here, and I can change the background, for example, to maybe I want to be ice fishing instead. I can add images, I can add text, I can link this space, different space if I want to, and travel to that space. And we'd certainly like to integrate, we'd like to integrate things like three-dimensional models, for one, would be an important aspect of making it sort of like more, further towards that kind of metaverse sort of builder. And then also, I think we'd like to do some sort of Web3 integrations. I think that Abs, you sort of your ideas about the video sharing platform. I think a lot of that stuff's really great. Like, there's a lot of really great ideas about how to create a product that's both social and like dealing with new media, and also engage Web3 there. And mostly we've been so sort of focused on building the product that we haven't had the opportunity to think out the kind of like Web3 integration side, much less actually build those aspects of the product up to this point. But certainly, we kind of played around with ideas like using it also as sort of like an NFT, a place to display NFTs, and we've had the users who have tested it out and used it for those purposes, but I don't think there's been anything that in particular that has like struck us as like, oh, this is the way that we need to sort of like make this into also a Web3 product. So we're kind of still thinking about that stuff. But yeah, that's most of it. And we're currently raising a seed round and just trying to get more people into it and using it, and building drifts. And it's sort of like one of these social network kind of projects where the more people you have who use it, the more people know about it, the bigger it is, the more people use it and know about it and have it. So that's kind of the stage we're in at this point.
Cool. You
Yeah.
guys have certainly built a lot of tech here.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, I can show you the other aspect of it. I can show you here is sort of the dashboard side of it, because there's some functions, unfortunately, that are like sort of necessitate having a web dashboard, just sort of like media management and so on. You can't really do a lot of stuff if you don't have some method by which to manage the media that you're dealing with, and unfortunately some of that stuff can't be like integrated into virtual reality itself. So this is kind of just like it's pretty basic in a lot of ways, but it allows you to figure out what your projects are, what sort of media is in them, what's the total amount of media that you have in your library, how you add more media to that, delete it, figure out when it's used, and so on and so forth. Learn a little bit more about the program itself, the application itself. And then, there's the one thing I forgot is that this also lets you. There's only a certain number of people who are currently like have headsets. So in order to make sure that we reach everybody, regardless of whether or not they have a headset, we also built sort of like and just released this web version of the application. So basically it lets you take whatever you've built inside of the VR headset, and then you can export to the web and view it there, ideally, provided that it's working right now, which usually it is.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think we talked about this, but I think one, just given the way it's designed, I do feel like education and like teaching people about something, it seems like a good use case. It's like you can layer on information on top of 360 immersive content. Mm-hmm. And I think the idea we talked about, I think our last Beast Up, or one of them, was if you could figure out how to put a 360 camera into the metaverse and like let people like showcase create a showroom of their Decentraland room, but with like overlaid text to educate people before they actually jump into Decentraland or Sandbox. Something like that could be an interesting use case.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of potential out there, and generating those 360 views, whether it's in video or image form, from within applications, is sort of a key part of that. We've actually been working on developing like a 360 recorder from within the application itself, so that you can, if you're, instead of just like recording a video that you're showing somebody, you can record like the actual drift experience, and then you can use that we could use that to like create tutorials, or you can, I mean, I guess it gets kind of meta, where you've got like an experience that shows you having an experience, but
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, it's I think there's a lot of stuff there.
Well, might be
Awesome.
worth chatting with Nikita. I think there's some overlap.
Yeah, we definitely our approach is slightly different. We take spaces out of like 3D engines such as Unity and then generate them, but into these experiences. But that's actually a very similar. I think definitely a lot of overlap. I'm actually big into VR myself as well. I was thinking like some interesting cases for this could be too. Also, is like maybe recording like concerts, like front row seats at a concert could have like a camera set up or something, right? And then you can enter a drift to watch Kanye present from like the front row seats or something, and then you can take a step out into like the bar or something, and there's people chilling there. Could be kind of interesting.
Yeah. I think that those are great applications. And there's I think part of the problem, one of the strange like problems with an application like this is that there are, like, when you start thinking about it, you come up with so much different stuff that you could potentially do, and then you're like, well, what do we pursue first? Like, what's the most logical way to get to where we want to go? And then ideally at some point you can sort of like integrate as much functionality as you want into it and make it, you run out of use cases that you haven't developed yet. But we're definitely at this point where I'm like, thinking on a day-to-day basis, like, okay, well, how deeply do we want to like go down this path before we know like very, very strongly that this is going to pay off in the short term and the long term.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, focus is very important.
Yeah, I definitely agree. But I'd love to chat about, sort of more of what you guys are doing.
I'll follow up for sure.
Cool, that'd be great.
Cool. Thanks, Sky. I'm gonna keep us going just because I got a little. I want to make sure we have some time for Mark as well. But thanks for sharing. Definitely connect with Nikita again. Drop your links and whatnot, and I'll write up a little mention and share it with you before I post it.
Awesome. Yeah, really appreciate it.
Awesome.
Right.
Mark, I've followed Mark, I think, because he was pretty quick to jump in on integrating Web3 into a no-code tool. For those of you who know me well, I'm pretty deep in no-code. That was kind of my deep dive before I got into Web3. So pretty pumped to have him share what he's working on. You want to take it away, Mark?
Yeah, for sure. Let me go live here with my screen. Make sure you guys can see it.
Yeah. If you guys jumped in partway through the last one, you have to make sure to click watch stream to be able to see the screen that Mark is sharing. Right now, you should see Builder's homepage.
Cool. Thanks, Yohei. Yeah, appreciate the opportunity to demo today to everyone. For those of you who don't know, Builder is a visual development environment for building web apps, SaaS products, Chrome extensions, really anything for the web. And doing it all visually. So it's not necessarily no code. We stopped calling it no code a while back because really all the coding paradigms still sort of exist. Like, you need to think about variables and think about data structure and APIs and things like that. So we started switching to this term visual development. And then last year, as NFTs took off and Web3 took off, I had some team members who were already deep into it. So people had bought ETH at $80 and held it the whole time, stuff like that. So they've been telling me to get into crypto in general for a while. But then late last year, I think it was like September or something like that, I really dove in, got into NFTs, got into Web3, and we kicked off with just a MetaMask Connect, just like make an action that makes it easy to connect MetaMask. And that was really cool. And then Yohei actually did his, what was it called? Tango NFT. And I decided I was going to clone it. Yeah, it was cool. It was like, that was one of the really first, like, open sourced very quickly, Web3, just for the dev of it, kind of, not to go like make money on NFTs, just for the dev of it. We're just going to pop this thing up there. So that was cool. And I decided to clone that with Builder. And actually, if you go into builder.com/education, one of the tutorials in this Web3 tutorials, this creating NFT chat rooms, is actually the clone of that. So you can start from the pattern of that exact thing and learn how to build that from scratch. So it's pretty cool. That was probably the first thing that I did publicly with Web3 using Builder. And then we've just gone further from there. But I'll take a step back real quick and just kind of talk about what Builder is. So this is inside the Builder Studio. So it's a infinite canvas web app building tool. So you can see, like, in this project, which this is actually a template project that you can start from. It's called SaaS Starter. So it's like a fully built out SaaS base product, effectively. The front end, the auth side, the app side, a bunch of data collections and records and how it all ties together and all these different things. It's all built in. So you can just start from that, or you can start from scratch. So there's a bunch of boilerplate. The cool thing about Builder is that there's really no limit to how far you can go. We're completely open-ended. So for instance, like styling is a good example of that. We just sit on top of CSS. So if you know CSS, you can actually just write it. Like if I just go into CSS tab here, I can actually just write the CSS if I choose to. I can also use like a traditional no-code properties view where I can see like the layout and the spacing and things like that. Or I can do this middle view where I can see just what's been used. And this is a common thing that we do throughout Builder, both with styling and with actions regarding JavaScript. So like if I change this gap value and then I look at the CSS, it actually changed it here. And if I change the gap value here and save that CSS and go back to used props, it's changed it back in the UI. So this thing of like showing you visually but letting you dive into code, that's a big part of what we're about. We want you to be able to do both, whichever you prefer. We don't really have a preference. So you can use Builder to do pretty much anything web that you want. And the way we went about proving that is that the entire Builder Studio, literally this whole project, everything that you touch in Builder is actually a Builder project built visually. And I think that was sort of like the first claim to fame that we had when we launched in 2020, was that it's like the no-code tool built by a no-code tool. So it's fun because we get to use our own product, right? We use it every day. So it's pretty cool. So for instance, in here, if I want to connect my MetaMask wallet here, I can actually connect inside of Builder. So we're using all the Builder native things, which I had already connected. So it didn't pop up MetaMask, but I'm already connected in there. But that gives me access to like templates and blocks that are pass holder only blocks. So in December, we launched these Web3 lifetime access passes to the studio. And basically you get lifetime access plus access to a whole bunch of tools specifically for building Web3 products. And then we also just launched the Holder Pass, which is a product for NFT collectors. And that's also another thing. This is actually that product. But this is also built completely with Builder. So what we're doing is basically diving headfirst into Web3. And as we build out products like this, we're taking all this like token gating methodology that we built into this product, turning it into a pattern so that anyone with a studio pass can go use that pattern to not have to figure all those things out again. And so that's kind of the premise with us for Web3 is it's a leverage point for us on top of what we were already doing in Builder. It's another way that we can bring more users in and bring more people into our community of builders, which I'll chat our Discord link to into into the chat afterward, and you guys should come join us in Discord. It's a lot of fun in that community. That's pretty much it. I mean, I can demo for like 2 hours because Builder's a huge product.
I know
So-
5 minutes is short, but that's
Yeah.
awesome. That's cool. What are the templates? I know you have the token gated chat app as one of the templates.
Yeah, let me go back.
Do you have a minting page template? Because I know that's a question I hear like every few weeks. Is like I have a smart contract. How do I do a minting site?
Yeah, so we're launching these two. I'm hoping tomorrow. It might be Friday or Monday, but there are two of them that we'll be launching. One is called Hustle Cats. Let me see if I can just drop this on here. I'm in my test environment here, so bear with me if it doesn't work. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, this is like a mint template here, and you basically get it's pretty much in this case it's like really simple. It's just a website really designed for like all the normal things that you see on it. Minting, Builder, like this site is built with Builder as well. So all the actions and everything that you need to do like the mint and pop it up and go run through everything, all that is all built into the actions in Builder. So if you're looking to mint and you already have a contract, that's actually pretty easy to do in Builder. So you could start from a template like this for the design, or you could just like make your own design. And then you would just use actions to do the minting. So you're basically calling your contract with a specific action that runs a function inside that smart contract. So it would be whatever's inside there. There are some standard things in the smart contracts, so we can automate a lot of that. But some of it, if you have like a truly custom smart contract with custom functions, you'd have to basically specify the function and the arguments that go in. But anything like that is possible.
Wow, that's cool. That's awesome. If anybody else has comments or questions, feel free to chime in. Otherwise, I'll keep mentioning stuff. But
No, that's amazing. I wanted to ask, like, I know you mentioned actions. Is there anything where like I can write like a little bit of like custom JavaScript code or something like that if I need to, just have some custom logic or something?
Yeah, and actually, let me like drop this get total supply. I'm just gonna like drop it in a random spot on this page, but that'll give you a good idea of how it works in here. So this just like all it did here. Let me zoom in a little bit. Oh, wrong zoom. Let's see. There we go. So this dropped this little block on here. It's like a normal like total supply check kind of thing. You would style this on your own. We usually bring these blocks in unstyled so that you can make it your own. So this brought an action in here that runs a function, basically. Think of an action in Builder like a function. So this thing here is what we call an action type that executes one or more JavaScript functions. So what I'm going to do is go look at what that looks like inside this project now. So on the left, I have action types. And if I just search for Web3 here, I can see the action type, which is, think of an action type like a JSON definition of a set of functions with arguments for the Studio UI. So these two are the arguments that this is going to need, and it's going to go run a function to get total supply of a token, and then it's going to take the output of that and set it into a page variable. And we can go look at one more step, which is in the JavaScript function. If I type token, it's probably in there. Yeah. And you can actually just like write your own JavaScript. So we actually expose everything to you. And we show you exactly how it operates. So there's nothing hidden in here, and you can literally just write your own code. You can bring your own libraries. You control your own like page header, so you can just drop a new page header in, and it'll just bring it. So like when I did that, when I brought that action type in, it automatically added this Web3.js page header that just goes out to Cloudflare and grabs the script. So the library's there on the page whenever it needs it. So yeah, all of it is like you can dive as deep as you want in here. Really no limits to it.
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow.
So the Builder came from building big custom systems for people for years and years. We've been using these tools, and then I spun out the tech into a new company in July 2020. So the company's only like 18 months old, but the team's been together for like a decade building the product behind the scenes.
That's cool. Recently I saw, I think it was like Typeform or another kind of web builder, like partner with a smart contract dev, but you could probably do something like that. I'm sure there's folks like Manifold or some of those like create custom contract tools that you could reach out to and just build a partnership so that they push them directly to builder to set up their minting page.
Yeah. There's ThirdWeb is a good one. They're launched recently. You can basically go in and build custom smart contracts, and we're partnering with different collections also to help them get everything set up. So like we have some connections to some really good smart contract Solidity devs, and like they're the ones who did ours. I don't know if you know who they are, Jonathan Snow and Tom Hurst. They were actually cited by OpenSea whenever OpenSea optimized their contracts a couple months ago. They cited Tom and Jonathan's work, saying this white paper is what led us to go through these optimization efforts. And so they're really great, and I've sort of built out a network of Solidity devs like that. So if anyone's looking to launch a collection, we've noticed that's kind of the missing piece, is finding a good Solidity dev is very hard. But most collections that mint are fairly boilerplate. There's really not that much to it. You can kind of take a boilerplate contract and you can run through most of that for normal like PFP.
Yeah.
You're doing something crazy, you're doing PDE games, it's a little different. But for normal minting, if you're just looking for a mint site, we can probably help you get it launched, like start to finish.
You should look into just developing your own kind of experts job network. I know like Zapier has experts.zapier.com where you can look for people who are already good at Zapier. I feel like Builder already is like, there's so much functionality. I imagine somebody might land here and be like, I want to use this, but I want somebody to set it up for me and I just want to go in and tweak it. So having having like a experts board where you can add in people who are really good at Builder or people who are good at Solidity, that people can just search for people that they could reach out to through you might be a good idea.
I love that. Yeah, we should absolutely do that. Make it public. If you prior to that, I guess, come into our Discord and just ask. And there are a bunch of people in there who are work for hire, and they'll just build Builder projects for you too.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Sweet. Awesome.
Cool.
Well, thank you, Mark, for sharing this. I haven't had a chance to dig in and play with some of the newer stuff, but I remember when you did Tango, I was playing around a little bit then and saw the MetaMask connection. So I'll probably have to jump in and play again.
Cool. Yeah, let me know if you need anything.
Thank you. For everyone here, thanks for joining us. Thanks to all the presenters. This is the monthly community demo day. We'll do this once a month. Anybody with a PixelBeasts can apply to present. We'll select 5 people to essentially do this, just share what they're working on and hear a little bit back from the community. I know the time's short. Again, a lot of the feedback ended up coming from me because we run out of time, but I'll write up a Medium post. If the recording ends up working, I'll include the recording and I'll push that out so people can read about it and reach out afterwards. For anybody who hasn't heard or seen, we're hosting the GM Summit next month. So the demo, we won't do a demo day. The demo will be, we'll do a startup demo portion as part of the conference. It's a one-day conference on March 16th with panels in the morning. We have some incredible community members who are pretty well-known VCs and writers as panelists in the morning. During the lunchtime, there's a networking session. The tool we're using is called Hop In, and they have a networking room where if you just jump in, it's like a chat roulette for the event. You'll essentially be jumped on like a 5-minute call with people, 5-minute video chat with a timer. And then at the end of 5 minutes, if you both agree to connect, it'll share your contact info with each other. And then the afternoon, we have some community-led roundtables. The roundtables can be hosted by anybody. So if you have a topic, you can submit a topic you'd like to talk about. It might be a continuation of the panels in the morning, or we have some other new interesting topics like decentralized science, healthcare, IP, and we can have anything else. I might try to reach out to an accountant to do an AMA and maybe a lawyer as well. And then, we'll do startup demos followed by an after party in Beastopia, which is our pixelated metaverse environment, which is where we'll jump to next as kind of the after party for demo day. I know that was a lot, but before we jump over there, if anybody has questions for me, I'll take a moment to field any questions about GM Summit or PixelBeasts in general.
What's the lineup for the summit? Do you have it out yet?
Yeah. If you, it's in the announcements. I'll drop the link in the general chat as well. Event link. Okay, I just posted in the general chat. So if you jump on, you'll see the lineup of the panelists in the morning. I'm still kind of coordinating the roundtable, so I don't have the speaker info up yet. But I'm getting, there's a speaker roundtable submission link. So I just need to update that. There's also a startup demo application there if you want to present during the GM summit. I know we have a lot of investors. I probably have a list of like 30, 40 investors who's basically said if they're willing, please send me a list of all the startups that apply to present. So if you're raising for a Web3 startup, it might be worth just even applying, even if you can't make it, honestly, because I'm going to just send the list out to investors who are interested in investing in Web3 companies.
And are people who did the demo today allowed to join that?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's not a usual demo day. We'll let people who've presented at a demo day present there.
Awesome.
Cool. The pixelated metaverse. I'm gonna post the after party link in the general chat. For those of you who don't know, this is the same platform as the Pixels game. You may have seen me post about it. It's a farming game that did their big mint a few weeks ago. They presented at the last demo day. The Beastopia link specifically is kind of an old version of what they used to build that we were grandfathered into. We actually started using the platform for our weekly events before they pivoted into Web3. So right now in February, they are going through a kind of a platform transition. So some people are having issues connecting. If you do, I apologize. But jump on in there. I will jump in there now, and hopefully we'll have a handful of you jumping in, and we'll just kind of casually chat there and keep hanging out. But again,